very grateful to have the support of, in particular, two strong corporate backers, Silver Corp and Pan American Silver, two seasoned industry professionals. They know the industry well. Pan American knows the country well. To have them backing us in a time when capital is tight, to be able to go out and raise Canadian $35 million, no warrants.
Hello and welcome to the Assay TV, where today I'm delighted to be joined by CEO of New Pacific Metals, Andrew Williams. New Pacific is a Canadian exploration and development company with 3 precious metals projects in Bolivia: their flagship Silver Sand Silver project, their newly discovered Carangas Silver Gold project, and their third project, the Silverstrike Silver Gold project. Welcome, Andrew. So great to have you on the Assay TV today. How are you doing today?
I'm doing very well, thanks. How are you?
Great, thank you. So just for those viewers that aren't familiar with New Pacific Metals, can you provide a little bit of an overview of the company and the journey so far?
Yeah, sure. So New Pacific, we're a Canadian exploration and development company with precious metals projects in Bolivia. We've got 3 projects within our company. Our flagship project, Silver Sand, that's located in the Potosi department of Bolivia, and the first discovery we made as a company in 2017. It's really the one that put us on the map. And in 2021, we made a discovery at our second project, the Carangas project, which is located in the Oruro department of Bolivia. And we drilled that all throughout last year and announced our inaugural resource estimate just last month. And then we do have a third project also in Bolivia in the La Paz district, and that's the Silverstrike project that we made a discovery on last year. So now we've got 3 projects in our short history since 2017. The Silver Sand project, one of the best primary silver discoveries anywhere in the world in this past decade, and most recently our large Carangas discovery.
And we can look into that in a moment, but let's quickly talk about your new appointment as CEO. Can you tell us a bit about that and what made you so interested to join New Pacific Metals?
Yeah, so before New Pacific Metals, I was 11 years as an institutional investor, as a portfolio manager, and so know the space really well, and identified New Pacific as a company that was in a very rare class of companies to have made a real discovery with very strong economics, particularly at the Silver Sand project. And as such, undergoing that natural evolution from being a successful exploration company into a project development company. And as part of that evolution, you need to add to the team. And so I joined in January of this year as the company's president to help in that effort, along with several others that have joined the company this past year, and then got up to speed quite quickly, and just last month was promoted to be the CEO of the company to lead it into this next phase of its evolution.
Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
And you just mentioned the filing of your independent mineral resource estimate for Carangas. Can you share some of the numbers there for us and how it's kind of shaped your plans moving forward?
Yeah, so Carangas, to put it into context, Silver Sand, big system, 200 million ounces of silver. But Carangas, even bigger. The indicated resource, 560 million silver equivalent ounces and another 110 million ounces in the inferred category. So Carangas is a very substantial system, and we now know there's a lot of metal there. That's been confirmed by that resource estimate. Our next step is to understand just how we squeeze as much of that metal out of the ground as possible into some sort of a saleable, either a doré or a concentrate, and extract maximum value from this significant discovery. So we're going to be embarking on some additional metallurgical tests and technical studies as we work towards completing our preliminary economic assessment study that we're targeting in the first half of next year at Carangas.
Excellent. You just mentioned Silver Sand and Silverstrike projects. Is there an update there as well, like what's happening with those projects?
So for Silver Sand, still very much an intense focus for us as a company. We're working towards upgrading our PEA study that we released in January of this year, highlighting some fantastic economics, plus $700 million after-tax net present value, 39% IRR. I mean, just a wonderful project that we are now upgrading to a pre-feasibility study, and we're targeting release of that pre-feasibility study in the first half of next year. And so that's got us, that's our primary focus at Silver Sand this year, along with continuing to advance our environmental permits. So that's been our major focus between the permitting and the pre-feasibility study at Silver Sand. And then at our Silverstrike project, the update's simple. We're not doing anything this year. We made the discovery last year, and 200 meters at 1 gram per ton oxidized gold right near surface, but didn't really generate anything in the way of a market response. And so we figured that we've got enough on our plate between the Silver Sand and Carangas projects this year. And as well, this is a kind of market environment where our shareholders were not being rewarded for the drilling we were doing at Silverstrike. So we decided to hit the pause button this year, put it on the shelf. It's not going anywhere. When conditions are more conducive at some point in the future, we'll pick it off the shelf and resume that exploration effort.
Absolutely. And as you've mentioned, all the projects are in Bolivia. How do you find operating in Bolivia as a mining jurisdiction?
Yeah, I mean, you said it. It's a mining jurisdiction. The mining goes back centuries in Bolivia. This isn't something that's new to the country. And so I think that's the first point to highlight. The second point, just from my own experience, again, my previous life as an institutional investor, I've been to probably close to 100 projects around the world, and I was blown away by the infrastructure in Bolivia. The road infrastructure is fantastic. You can get around the country really well. There's available power. We're in our PEA study penciled in 5.5 cent kilowatt hour per power for our Silver Sand project, and it should be something similar for Carangas. So great infrastructure power there. The workforce, again, being a mining country, there are large scale mines in the country, so there's an abundant workforce, very hardworking local folks with reasonable wages. So I mean, it's a great, it's a fantastic jurisdiction to explore. I mean, that's something that we've proven beyond a reasonable doubt with the quality of the discoveries we've been able to make the old-fashioned way. These are greenfields discoveries. We're not recycling old projects, brownfields, et cetera. And so now we're really we're transitioning here from proving that we can be successful as an exploration company and demonstrating here with our Silver Sand and Carangas projects in the development phase that Bolivia is also a very welcome and a country that's amenable to project development.
Excellent. Thank you for that. So let's move on to financing. Obviously, quite significant announcement that you closed an impressive 35 million bought deal financing. Can you tell us a bit about that fundraise and where you plan to allocate those funds?
Yeah, so very grateful to have the support of, in particular, two strong corporate backers, Silver Corp and Pan American Silver, two seasoned industry professionals. They know the industry well. Pan American knows the country well. To have them backing us in a time when capital is tight, to be able to go out and raise Canadian $35 million, no warrants, I think is a real testament to the strength of the company and the value inherent in our shares at these levels. So very grateful for that support. And the $35 million gives us a very strong runway for us to really complete our work plans over the next couple of years here, which is to complete the pre-feasibility study at Silver Sand, the feasibility study, and obtain our environmental permits and effectively have the Silver Sand project be shovel ready and make our next major decision as a company to either finance the whole project, to build it ourselves, or sell it off to someone else. So this financing gives us more than enough runway to get to that next major decision point, as well as some extras for us to meaningfully advance our Carangas project. So I think if you look at the use of proceeds, it's roughly 2/3 for Silver Sand project to get that to that state, and then about a third of it at Carangas to continue with the PEA study. We've got some drilling that we want to do at Carangas, just a little bit, but in the district, we've got some really interesting geophysical anomalies that we'd like to drill before the end of the year, and then continue to progress those technical studies. So it's about 2/3 Silver Sand, 1/3 Carangas, which accurately reflects our prioritization of those two projects within New Pacific Metals.
So we've had a lot of information there. So a good place to summarize would be a roundup. What are some of the key highlights, the number one highlights for investors to look out for in the coming months?
Yeah, I think really, as far as our projects go, we're continuing to work to deliver that pre-feasibility study at our Silver Sand project. That'll be an important milestone for us, as well as continuing to make progress on our environmental permits at the Silver Sand project. And then at Carangas, in the immediate term, we'd like to drill those geophysical anomalies and test this idea that what we found so far at Carangas, while significant, is only a small part of a much larger district. So we're going to get in and drill that before the end of the year, and then look to release our PEA study at Carangas to demonstrate the economics behind this substantial mineral endowment, and that'll be coming up in the first half of next year. So a huge amount of news flow for us across both of our projects. So plenty to keep us busy here, and very fortunate to have the team and the financial resources to be able to deliver on our work plans over the next 12 to 18 months here.
Oh, excellent. It certainly sounds like an exciting few months for New Pacific Metals. And thank you so much for taking the time to speak to us today.
Thank you very much. It was a pleasure.